Modern life exposes the human body to a complex web of environmental toxins that quietly accumulate over time, often without producing immediate symptoms. These substances enter through the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we consume, and the materials that come into contact with our skin. Heavy metals such as lead, mercury, and cadmium seep into the bloodstream from industrial pollution, contaminated water, and certain processed foods. Chemical residues from pesticides, solvents, plastics, and household products further add to this toxic burden. Once inside the body, these compounds do not simply pass through. Many lodge within tissues, gradually interfering with cellular processes that sustain nerve health. Nerve cells rely on a continuous supply of energy to transmit electrical signals across long distances. Their thin membranes and extended fibers make them uniquely sensitive to chemical disruption. Environmental toxins impair mitochondrial function, reducing the production of cellular energy needed for neural communication and repair. As mitochondria falter, nerve fibers lose their ability to maintain stable electrical gradients, leading to distorted sensory transmission. Signals that once traveled with precision begin to flicker, resulting in sensations of tingling, burning, or numbness that appear without clear cause. Oxidative stress represents another critical pathway of neurotoxicity. Many environmental toxins generate reactive oxygen molecules that damage proteins, lipids, and DNA. Nerve membranes, rich in delicate fats, are particularly vulnerable. As these membranes degrade, their ability to conduct impulses deteriorates. The protective myelin sheath that insulates nerve fibers becomes compromised, slowing signal transmission and increasing susceptibility to further injury. Over time, this oxidative assault erodes neural integrity, contributing to chronic pain, muscle weakness, and sensory loss. Microcirculation also suffers under toxic exposure. The smallest blood vessels, responsible for nourishing peripheral nerves, constrict and stiffen in response to chemical irritation. Reduced blood flow deprives nerves of oxygen and nutrients, while waste products accumulate within surrounding tissues. This ischemic environment accelerates degeneration, especially in the extremities, where circulation is already challenged. The gradual onset of neuropathy often begins in the toes and fingertips, reflecting the vulnerability of these distant nerve endings to compromised blood supply. The liver and kidneys serve as the body's primary detoxification systems, filtering harmful compounds from circulation. When environmental toxin exposure exceeds their capacity, these organs struggle to maintain internal balance. Detoxification pathways become saturated, allowing neurotoxic substances to persist longer in the bloodstream. With prolonged exposure, the nervous system becomes an unintended reservoir, storing toxins within fatty tissues and neural membranes. This accumulation creates a persistent source of irritation, perpetuating inflammation and oxidative stress long after the original exposure has passed. There is also a subtle interaction between toxins and immune regulation. Certain chemical compounds activate immune responses that target neural tissue, mistaking damaged cells for foreign invaders. This autoimmune-like reaction intensifies inflammation within nerves, amplifying pain and dysfunction. Over time, repeated immune activation reshapes neural signaling, heightening sensitivity and lowering pain thresholds. Sensations that were once neutral become uncomfortable, and mild discomfort evolves into chronic suffering. Psychological and emotional health intersect deeply with toxic burden. Chronic exposure strains the nervous system's adaptive capacity, contributing to fatigue, cognitive fog, irritability, and emotional instability. The brain, tasked with managing both internal chemistry and external demands, becomes overwhelmed, further impairing neural resilience. This multidimensional stress accelerates neurodegeneration, blurring the line between physical toxicity and emotional exhaustion. Yet within this vulnerability lies remarkable capacity for recovery. When environmental toxin exposure is reduced, cellular repair mechanisms gradually regain strength. Mitochondrial function improves, oxidative stress diminishes, and microcirculation restores nourishment to damaged nerves. Neural tissues begin to regenerate, guided by intrinsic biological intelligence that seeks equilibrium. This process unfolds slowly, requiring patience and consistency, yet it demonstrates the profound adaptability of the human nervous system when given a cleaner internal environment. Metabolic toxins arise from within the body, produced as byproducts of the very systems designed to sustain life, yet under certain conditions they become agents of slow neural damage. High blood sugar, prolonged hyperinsulinemia, and chronic low-grade inflammation create a biochemical environment that is quietly hostile to nerve fibers. Unlike external toxins, which are introduced from the environment, these internal compounds are generated continuously by metabolic activity, nutrition, and lifestyle patterns. Their subtle, cumulative impact often goes unnoticed until sensations of numbness, tingling, or weakness emerge in the extremities, signaling that neural integrity has been compromised over months or even years. Glucose, when elevated consistently, reacts chemically with proteins through a process called glycation, forming advanced glycation end products. These compounds stiffen the microvasculature that nourishes peripheral nerves, reducing blood flow and impairing oxygen and nutrient delivery. Nerve cells, which rely on continuous microcirculatory support, become starved despite the body being otherwise well fed. Over time, this ischemic stress diminishes the ability of nerves to maintain their membranes and transmit electrical signals with precision, leading to slowed reflexes, reduced sensitivity, and heightened vulnerability to injury. Chronic inflammation acts as an internal amplifier of neurotoxicity. When metabolic imbalance persists, the immune system remains in a state of mild but constant activation. Pro-inflammatory molecules circulate throughout the body, including delicate neural tissues, where they interfere with cellular signaling and hinder repair mechanisms. The myelin sheath, the insulating layer around nerves, becomes increasingly susceptible to damage under this biochemical assault. Without intact myelin, electrical impulses flicker and degrade, producing symptoms that range from subtle numbness to burning pain or muscle weakness. This inflammatory burden does not affect nerves uniformly. It often manifests first in the most distal areas, such as hands and feet, where circulation is naturally more limited. Oxidative stress further compounds the impact of metabolic toxins. Elevated sugar levels, excess fatty acids, and chronic inflammation increase the production of free radicals, reactive molecules that damage cellular components. Neurons, with their high energy demands and extended axons, are especially sensitive to oxidative insult. Lipid membranes become peroxidized, protein structures misfold, and DNA repair mechanisms are compromised. Over time, this oxidative erosion weakens the structural and functional integrity of nerves, setting the stage for progressive neuropathy. Mitochondrial function is central to this process. Nerve cells depend on mitochondria to generate the energy required for electrical conduction, neurotransmitter synthesis, and cellular repair. Chronic metabolic stress overloads these energy factories, reducing their efficiency and leaving neurons underpowered. Without adequate energy, nerve fibers cannot maintain ion gradients, repair membrane damage, or regenerate axonal extensions. The result is a gradual decline in conduction speed, sensory fidelity, and overall neural resilience, often unnoticed until functional deficits emerge. Nutritional insufficiencies intersect with metabolic toxicity to magnify neural vulnerability. Vitamins such as B1, B6, B12, and folate are essential for myelin synthesis, neurotransmitter production, and nerve repair. Diets high in refined carbohydrates, processed foods, or empty calories frequently fail to provide sufficient quantities of these nutrients. Coupled with elevated blood sugar and inflammation, this deficiency accelerates nerve degradation. Even subtle imbalances can compromise recovery, creating a self-perpetuating cycle in which metabolic stress and nutritional insufficiency reinforce one another. Beyond the biochemical and structural aspects, metabolic toxins exert a profound influence on the nervous system's communication with the rest of the body. Chronic exposure alters pain perception, sensitizes neural pathways, and reshapes reflex patterns. Movements that were once effortless begin to feel awkward, coordination diminishes, and the fine feedback between nerves and muscles weakens. Emotional and cognitive states are also affected, as peripheral nerve stress communicates with the central nervous system, amplifying fatigue, irritability, and cognitive fog. The slow accumulation of these internal toxins demonstrates the intimate connection between metabolism and neural health. While external factors can often be avoided, metabolic toxins are shaped by daily choices and systemic balance. By restoring glucose control, reducing chronic inflammation, and supplying essential nutrients, the body can gradually mitigate the damage, allowing nerve fibers to repair, remyelinate, and regain functionality. In this delicate interplay, awareness, consistency, and intentional living become as critical as any intervention, highlighting the profound intelligence and adaptability inherent in the human nervous system. The modern diet and certain medications introduce chemical stressors into the body that can subtly, yet profoundly, impact nerve health. Processed foods, artificial additives, preservatives, and trans fats are common culprits, entering the bloodstream through everyday meals and snacks. While these substances may appear harmless on a short-term scale, over months and years they accumulate, overloading the liver, kidneys, and detoxification pathways. Nerve cells, highly sensitive to chemical imbalances, bear the consequences of this invisible burden, even in the absence of obvious illness. As toxins circulate for longer periods, they increase oxidative stress, impair neural signaling, and interfere with cellular repair mechanisms, gradually undermining the nervous system's resilience and functionality. Pharmaceutical compounds, while often life-saving, can also exert unintended neurotoxic effects. Some medications alter electrolyte balance, impair mitochondrial efficiency, or reduce absorption of critical nutrients required for nerve maintenance. Others may interfere with neurotransmitter production or modify myelin synthesis, subtly slowing signal transmission and weakening nerve insulation. The combination of external chemical exposure from food and internal chemical load from medications creates a synergistic challenge, forcing the body's detoxification systems to operate beyond their optimal capacity. Over time, nerve fibers, already delicate due to their elongated structure and high energy demands, become increasingly vulnerable to damage. Nutrient depletion is a critical mechanism by which diet and medications impact nerve health. B vitamins, particularly B1, B6, and B12, play central roles in myelin formation, neurotransmitter synthesis, and energy production within neurons. Diets rich in processed foods but low in whole grains, legumes, leafy greens, and animal products often fail to provide sufficient amounts of these nutrients. When coupled with medications that impair absorption, these deficiencies become magnified. Neurons deprived of essential building blocks lose the ability to repair micro-damage, maintain membrane integrity, and conduct electrical signals efficiently. Subtle sensory deficits, tingling, and gradual weakness may emerge first in the extremities, serving as early indicators of this cumulative nutritional stress. Inflammation serves as another conduit through which diet and chemical exposure influence neuropathy. Artificial additives, refined sugars, and trans fats trigger inflammatory pathways in multiple tissues, including peripheral nerves. Chronic low-grade inflammation disrupts synaptic signaling, weakens the protective myelin sheath, and increases susceptibility to oxidative damage. Nerve fibers that once transmitted precise electrical signals begin to misfire, producing sensations of numbness, burning, or hypersensitivity. Over time, inflammation becomes self-perpetuating, as damaged nerves signal further immune activation, intensifying the cycle of injury and degeneration. Mitochondrial stress is a critical consequence of chemical exposure from diet and medications. Nerve cells demand high levels of ATP to maintain ion gradients, synthesize neurotransmitters, and support repair processes. Toxins interfere with mitochondrial efficiency, generating reactive oxygen species that overwhelm antioxidant defenses. With energy production compromised, neurons struggle to sustain their long axons, repair microtears, and maintain synaptic fidelity. Sensory processing slows, motor coordination diminishes, and pain thresholds are altered, often unnoticed until functional limitations manifest. The cumulative impact of dietary and pharmaceutical toxins is amplified by lifestyle factors. Sedentary behavior reduces circulation, limiting the delivery of nutrients and oxygen to peripheral nerves. Inadequate hydration further hinders detoxification and nutrient transport, creating a cellular environment where chemical stress is amplified. Emotional and psychological stress interacts with these physical factors, elevating cortisol and inflammatory markers, and further burdening an already challenged nervous system. The combination of internal and external chemical stressors with lifestyle pressures gradually erodes the delicate balance required for nerve health. Yet the nervous system retains remarkable capacity for repair when chemical stress is reduced. By removing or minimizing exposure to artificial additives, processed foods, and unnecessary pharmaceutical burdens, and by restoring nutrient sufficiency through diet and supplementation, nerve fibers can gradually regenerate. Myelin can repair, mitochondrial efficiency can improve, and oxidative stress can be mitigated. Over time, Sensory clarity, motor precision, and overall neural resilience can be restored, demonstrating the profound adaptability and intelligence inherent in the human nervous system. Consistency, awareness, and intentional lifestyle choices are critical to harnessing this capacity, illustrating that even subtle daily decisions have long-term consequences for nerve health. Stress is an invisible but powerful toxin, one that quietly infiltrates the nervous system and alters its delicate equilibrium over time. Unlike environmental pollutants or dietary chemicals, stress originates from the body's own response systems, a reaction designed to protect us from immediate threats but poorly adapted to chronic modern pressures. When stress becomes persistent, it floods the bloodstream with cortisol, adrenaline, and other stress hormones, reshaping nerve signaling, blood flow, and immune activity. This continuous exposure primes nerve fibers for dysfunction, altering pain perception, reducing repair efficiency, and gradually creating conditions that lead to neuropathy. Cortisol, while essential for acute alertness and energy mobilization, exerts harmful effects when chronically elevated. It disrupts glucose metabolism, alters electrolyte balance, and interferes with the production of neurotrophic factors necessary for nerve maintenance and regeneration. Neurons deprived of these critical signals begin to lose structural integrity, and axonal transport slows, impairing communication between the central nervous system and peripheral tissues. Over months and years, this subtle interference accumulates, resulting in tingling, burning sensations, numbness, and muscle weakness, often starting in the extremities where nerves are longest and most metabolically demanding. Adrenaline and sympathetic nervous system overactivity further compromise neural function. Constant vasoconstriction reduces microcirculation to peripheral nerves, limiting oxygen and nutrient delivery essential for repair and maintenance. This ischemic environment weakens nerve membranes, disrupts signal conduction, and increases susceptibility to oxidative damage. The combination of vascular constriction and energy deprivation amplifies the vulnerability of distal nerves, contributing to the hallmark, glove and stocking, pattern of neuropathy observed in many individuals experiencing chronic stress. Inflammatory signaling is another key pathway through which stress damages nerves. Chronic psychological strain elevates pro-inflammatory cytokines in circulation, creating a subtle but persistent immune activation that targets delicate neural tissues. This inflammation interferes with synaptic function, damages myelin sheaths, and impairs axonal transport. Over time, the nervous system becomes sensitized, amplifying minor stimuli into heightened sensations of pain, discomfort, or hypersensitivity. Even routine touch or movement may be perceived as uncomfortable, reflecting the long-term impact of stress-mediated inflammation on neural signaling. Stress also indirectly influences nerve health through digestive and metabolic pathways. Persistent stress alters gut motility, enzyme secretion, and microbiome balance, impairing nutrient absorption. Deficiencies in key vitamins and minerals, particularly B-complex vitamins, magnesium, and antioxidants, compromise myelin formation, neurotransmitter synthesis, and mitochondrial efficiency. Without these essential nutrients, neurons lose resilience, energy production falters, and repair processes slow. The body's natural ability to maintain nerve integrity is gradually overwhelmed by the combined weight of hormonal imbalance, inflammation, and nutrient scarcity. Psychological factors further intertwine with these physiological changes. Chronic anxiety or emotional strain heightens nervous system excitability, reinforcing maladaptive neural patterns. Pain perception becomes amplified, reflexes are altered, and coordination subtly deteriorates. Sleep disruption, a common consequence of prolonged stress, compounds the problem by limiting nocturnal neural repair and memory consolidation. The nervous system, deprived of restorative cycles, struggles to maintain optimal function, creating a feedback loop that accelerates degeneration. Yet within this challenge lies remarkable capacity for resilience. By reducing psychological and physiological stressors, nurturing emotional calm, and supporting the body with balanced nutrition and restorative sleep, nerve tissues can begin to recover. Mitochondrial function improves, inflammatory signaling diminishes, and myelin repair is facilitated. Neural communication gradually restores clarity, sensory perception normalizes, and motor coordination improves. Over time, conscious attention to stress management becomes a form of neuroprotective intervention, demonstrating the profound adaptability and intelligence inherent in the human nervous system. The subtle integration of mental, emotional, and physical care transforms chronic stress from a destructive force into a powerful signal for self-awareness, repair, and long-term neural health. There is a profound wisdom in understanding that nerve health is not determined solely by external interventions or isolated treatments, but by the cumulative environment we create for our nervous system each day. Every choice we make, what we eat, how we move, how we manage stress, and how we rest, sends a signal to our neurons, telling them whether they are valued, supported, and able to function optimally. The nervous system thrives in an environment of balance, stability, and intentional care. Yet in modern life it is often exposed to a steady stream of subtle assaults that, over time, erode its resilience. Recognizing this interplay allows us to approach neuropathy prevention and recovery not as a single action or quick fix, but as a continuous practice of conscious support. Nutrition is central to this process, acting as both protection and instruction. Essential vitamins and minerals, such as B-complex vitamins, magnesium, antioxidants, and omega-3 fatty acids, provide the raw materials for myelin repair, neurotransmitter synthesis, and cellular energy production. When these nutrients are delivered consistently, nerve fibers can maintain their membranes, conduct impulses efficiently, and recover from minor injury. Meals that nourish the body at the right times, particularly in the morning, set the tone for neural activity, stabilizing blood sugar, reducing oxidative stress, and providing the metabolic fuel necessary for repair processes. Over time, this habitual care strengthens nerve networks, preserves sensory precision, and mitigates the gradual decline often associated with aging. Hydration and circulation are equally essential in this nurturing environment. Neurons are highly sensitive to changes in fluid balance, relying on adequate hydration for nutrient delivery, waste removal, and electrical conductivity. Movement, gentle exercise, and stretching enhance blood flow to peripheral nerves, ensuring that distal fibers receive the oxygen and nutrients necessary for sustained function. When circulation is optimized, the nervous system operates with greater efficiency, repair mechanisms accelerate, and sensations of numbness or tingling are reduced. This physical support transforms the way nerve fibers respond to daily stressors, reinforcing resilience from the cellular level outward. Stress management forms a parallel pillar of this holistic approach. The nervous system's sensitivity to hormonal fluctuations means that chronic stress, anxiety, or emotional strain can exacerbate nerve dysfunction. Practices that cultivate calm, mindful breathing, meditation, restorative sleep, and reflective awareness allow the sympathetic nervous system to quiet, reduce cortisol levels, and permit parasympathetic repair processes to dominate. In this state, inflammatory signaling decreases, mitochondrial efficiency improves, and neurons regain the energy necessary for maintenance and communication. Emotional regulation, when paired with proper nutrition and physical support, amplifies the nervous system's capacity to recover and adapt. Lifestyle factors, though sometimes subtle, accumulate over time to either protect or compromise nerve health. Exposure to environmental toxins, lack of physical activity, poor dietary choices, and inadequate rest all add layers of stress that compound metabolic and inflammatory challenges. Conversely, conscious avoidance of neurotoxic substances, engagement in regular movement, attention to nutrient-dense foods, and prioritization of restorative sleep create an internal ecosystem where nerves can flourish. Over months and years, these daily choices reinforce structural integrity, enhance signal fidelity, and sustain motor and sensory function. Finally, there is a philosophical dimension to caring for the nervous system. Nerve health is not solely about preventing pain or dysfunction, it is about preserving connection, to ourselves, to our environment, and to those around us. Sensation, balance, coordination, and perception are the threads through which experience is woven, and supporting these functions enriches life itself. By approaching neuropathy prevention and neural repair as a continuous practice of awareness, intentional nourishment, and supportive habits, we align daily living with the intrinsic intelligence of the body. This alignment transforms care from reaction to proactive participation, fostering resilience, clarity, and presence in both the mind and the body, and illustrating the profound impact of consistent, conscious choices on long-term nerve health. If you found these insights helpful and want to continue learning practical, science-backed strategies to stay healthy, strong, and vibrant as you age, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends and family who could benefit, and subscribe to our channel for daily senior wellness tips, nutrition guidance, and simple lifestyle hacks designed to enhance longevity and quality of life. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video that can help you live healthier, happier, and more empowered every day.